What is up, Kaiju Seekers? Welcome to another Kaijunaut review. Today, in honor of the anniversary of Godzilla 1998, we are finally going to be doing a review. So, Godzilla 1998, what more is there to say after 28 years? Well, hopefully my review can bring a little more of a unique perspective than most, as most of you Kaiju Seekers know that I am a fan of the first American adaptation of The King of the Monsters. It is, in fact, my favorite film of the franchise, a film with a now dedicated fan base and oftentimes a pretty loud one. I've taken my own spot here as a proud appreciator and at times defender of the film, even having a dedicated page covering various Godzilla 98 topics. But I've never done a full video review of the film, so I thought might as well get that out of the way for the anniversary. So, here you go. Here is my review of Godzilla 1998. Released in that year and directed by Roland Emmerich of Independence Day fame, the film follows a group of scientists and reporters looking to uncover the mystery surrounding the destruction of missing fishing ships as well as villages from across the globe, ultimately ending up face to face with a mutated dragon known as Godzilla. The film immediately takes you back to basics with a recognizable opening of a fishing vessel under attack. The thunderous storm reels you in to an atmosphere that immediately sets the mood going forward. Soon after, we're introduced one by one to our various characters, all of whom not only play the characters with a 90s campy charm, but also having their storylines tied to Godzilla in some way. It keeps the plot centered while also giving us time to learn more about each character, their backgrounds, personalities, and goals. I enjoy watching all the characters react in various ways to Godzilla's emergence. Nick, in particular, is a very delightful protagonist who, while awkward at times, is also very competent and quick thinking, which I really appreciate in the character. And of course, I'll always defend Audrey, who may have small hiccups in the acting department, but overall plays a pretty fun, sympathetic character with a decent arc. And what really stands out about this film is Godzilla and how he is brought to life. A mix of both visually impressive and stellar practical effects that come together to make the film one heck of a creature feature. Some of the CGI, while dated, still holds up pretty well in a few areas, even in sequences where a majority of the CGI objectively will falter at times. But what will always be timeless is those practical elements, such as the suits, the animatronics, and the miniatures. They all look amazing, with a sleek, imposing design for the new Godzilla. Though controversial, it does stand as a faithful recreation of the modern Godzilla in the sense that it was taking a ground up approach using the same methods and philosophies for like a modern setting, a new reinvention. And my favorite sequences all involve Godzilla in these thrilling chase sequences running around the city of New York with his agility and speed on full display, along with his animalistic cunning. And this characterization is always been one of my favorites, something I'm very fond of, being this like animalistic and grounded portrayal. He feels like an actual animal with his own quirks and personality. While being a Jurassic Park homage, the baby Godzillas as well are just as special and just as much as of a spectacle to behold, with similarly thrilling sequences that show both like just how dangerous they are, how cunning, and honestly how cute they can be in a few instances. And the story overall is paced rather well, never dragging, never really slowing down. As previously stated, all the characters have their storylines linked in some way to Godzilla, which keeps him relevant even when he's not on screen or the subject of discussion. What also works is how Godzilla's presence is built up throughout that plot and felt throughout the whole film. This film actually follows the don't show the monster trope, unlike 2014, where Gareth Edwards held everything back until the last few acts. Here, you actually build up a reveal that is done splendidly through precise and just purposeful cinematography and staging, where you have sequences where Godzilla is not completely on screen but still has presence and still causes destruction and mayhem. It comes together in just a spectacular overall characterization of Godzilla and how he is portrayed on screen. Now, for a bit of a ramble and just overall retrospective of Godzilla 1998, I will always acknowledge and concede to the fact that there are a few elements in the script overall that do falter, are just faulty in just the script, certain decisions, but none of that for me will ultimately ruin the experience of the film, which is a sentiment I think a lot of people need to get behind, because you can still recognize and criticize elements of any piece of media and still retain enjoyment of it, even if in the eyes of others and a large majority of people it is not of quality. But as I've hopefully shown you today, these are what I do think are the good qualities of Godzilla 1998. And hopefully more people will start to see that. I do have my actual defense of Godzilla 1998 as another video. And this is just a more overall review of the film and just elements that I think were done really well. So hopefully I was able to show that in, just like a decent way. Because, again, I love this film. I watch it regularly as my favorite Godzilla film. There's tons of stuff that I want to continue talking about, like the animated series, the overall like world building of the Emmerichverse, as I like to call it. It's just, again, very nice to see. It's what I love about the film. Godzilla is honestly a huge influential part of my life because of this film and because of the way this Godzilla was portrayed. It is honestly what I think made me love like reptiles, animals in general, because of how this version of the King of the Monsters was portrayed, executed, and just overall is just why I love monster movies in general. So I think within that, you have to admit like this film has its merits, and honestly, it can be an example of why bad movies per se can still have merit, because they can instill feelings and the overall, what do you call it, path for creatives such as myself. If a bad movie can have some good qualities and influence people who are able to appreciate those qualities for what they are, and in spite of the faults still continue on that path, then I think that piece of media will have merit, and is why they should be, what would be the word, like, just allowed to happen, because you can't expect every piece of media to be the perfect film, the perfect show, the perfect book, or the perfect illustration, because you can't demand perfection of everything. You have to allow people to learn, to grow, to falter, and then hopefully encourage them to just do better. So that's just a little bit of a ramble there, going off topic, but again, that is my overall thoughts on Godzilla 1998. So guys, remember to check the description down below to see how you can get a discount on your order of Advanced GG. Continue to support the fundraiser for the Pocho figure. And don't forget to like and subscribe, help support the channel. And without further ado, guys, thank you again, Kaiju Seekers. Over and out.